Excuse me. Hello. Welcome back to Stephen King's Saturday Night. Before I begin, I forgot to mention, if you haven't figured it out by now, that the Stephen King Saturday Nights are temporarily replacing the franchise Fridays for this month. It's the only way I could work around it. Didn't really want to cover the Phantasm movies yet, so, Well, my thoughts on the first one, I have a review up for that, although I admit that it's not the best. But for this Stephen King Saturday, we're looking at 1408, starring John Cusack, yes, that's how I pronounce it, and Samuel L. Jackson. And it's about a writer named Mike, played by Cusack, who writes about haunted hotels, hotel rooms, stuff like that. And one day he gets a postcard telling him not to go to room 1401 at the Dolphin Hotel in New York. So he goes there, and he's first dismissed, but he eventually does get in the room, and once he gets there, the weird stuff, it starts to happen. So first and foremost, this movie would not work if you did not have an actor like John Cusack that could give a performance. Like, John Cusack's performance in this film is fantastic. There could have been others you could give. I could see maybe Kevin Costner doing a role like this, maybe. But then again, Kevin Costner never goes, I don't know, he's always seems calm to me in certain things. But John Cusack in this, he goes above and beyond to give you a performance that works for this film. You really believe that this is a man who has been broken down by everything happening in this room. Also, you have Samuel L. Jackson, who also gives a good performance, though he's not in the movie that much. You believe that this is also someone who has seen a lot of shit go down in his hotel. So we start off with John Cusack, playing the character of Mike. Trying not to yawn, but it's not working. We see Mike, and we don't know it yet, but he's been through a lot of shit in his life. He's going through this. He's staying at this hotel. Nothing happened while he was there, and so he goes to this book signing, and people keep asking if the stuff is real and stuff like that. And then he's checking his mail, and he gets this postcard saying, "Don't go to room 1408." So he tries to make a reservation, and every day he suggests, they say it's not available. Okay, well, tomorrow, I'd like to make a reservation for room 1408. It's not available. Okay, how about tomorrow? Not available. So sometime next week? Not available. Next month? Not available. And so he talks to his publisher, played by Tony Shalhoub, who tells him that he's got a lawyer, and the lawyer says that there's some civil rights law that forbids them from not allowing someone to stay in a room that's not been being used. So he goes to the hotel, and he once again tries to check in, and the lady pulls it up, and on the screen it says "Alert Manager." So they call in Mr. Olin, played by Samuel L. Jackson. He comes out and he tries to bribe Mike. He tries to bribe him with alcohol. He tries to say, "Hey, I can give you a penthouse suite," But, he wants to go do this. He wants to do this. And, they have conversation as a whole. Pretty cool conversation in Owen's office. It's pretty cool. And, so I'm going to make weird faces and I'm trying not to freaking yawn, okay? I hate yawning in my videos. That's the one thing. Maybe I'm professional, but I don't like yawning, okay? So anyway, they make note that essentially they are superstitious. To them, there is no 13th floor. They don't use the 13th floor at all. But when you do that, technically the 14th floor is then the 13th floor. Also, the numbers in 1408 add up to 13. So, yeah, I think you're screwed either way here. So he tries to point out, he has this whole book or folder or whatever it is, detailing every death that's ever happened. And there's even more. I think there's, 56 or 65, somewhere around there, deaths in that room. Some of them weren't even televised or known by the press. And he's showing everything that's happened, and he still wants to do it. So he takes him up. He gives him a key, this key, because apparently electronics don't work. Now I've heard people say, call this out. Or wait a minute, if the electronics doesn't work, why does his laptop work later? How is he using his tape recorder? Well, I know I just make me sound like an idiot, but I always think of electronics as this stuff you plug in. But laptops can work on batteries, recorders can work on batteries. The recorder has to work. Maybe the recorder is the plot hole, but my theory is that the room allows these to work. The room allows the laptop to work because later we see the room take over and try to get his ex-wife into the room. And then we see the tape recorder works, and there was stuff that was recorded. We find out later. So he gets in there, and the first thing you get is the alarm clock going off, which, when this movie came out, 2007, okay, it's old style alarm clock, which is why, and it's counting down from 60 minutes. Because, as Mr. Olin says, no one has lasted over an hour in that room. So, you get your hour, it drives you insane. Weird stuff then starts to happen. First, the alarm clock goes off, right? And then he notices the toilet paper is weird. And there's chocolates on his pillow. Oh no! Scary. But then it really does start to get scary. There's weird things. He's going nuts. There's noises. He sees apparitions. At one point, he realizes he can't leave the apartment. He can't leave the room. He tries to. He burns himself, cuts himself, and realizes he needs to get out of there. And so he tries to leave. The key breaks off. The handle breaks off. He can't leave. He tries to. But he sees someone in the room in the building across from him and tries to call to them. But then he realizes it's just another version of him. He tries to climb out and go to the room next door. But all the other rooms disappeared except for 2 windows. And I'm like, what's the other window? I guess there's 2 windows in the room? I guess? I don't know. But he tries. It's kind of an homage to The Ledge, which is another Stephen King short story. But he goes back to the room. And, he tries pounding on the wall at one point too, because there's a lady and her baby, but that's also messing with him. And he starts to have flashbacks. We find out that he had a daughter with his ex-wife, and she had, what was it? Leukemia? It was some form of cancer, I think. and she ended up dead. But rather than deal with it, he just kept saying, "I'm going to get cigarettes." And this is shown by he carries one cigarette in his ear, and he'll place it, saying that he's saving that, like, for when the world ends and everything. That's when he's going to finally smoke it, because he quit smoking, and that's the, when the world ends, that's when I'll do it, right? When it's all over, when he knows it's all over, that's when he's going to do it. So he sees these flashbacks, and we learn that he wasn't a very good person in his life. Maybe at one point he did believe in all this weird stuff, but, it kind of went away. And you also find he doesn't have a very good relationship with his father, and all that stuff, and that's, it's not about, like, haunted ghost thing. It's more about the trauma he's been through, and he's being haunted by that, rather than just ghosts. At one point, there is a scene where he goes into the mini bar, and he sees a version of Samuel L. Jackson, and he freaks out. And this is where I feel that you pick the right actor in John Cusack. Because if you pick someone like, say, Nicolas Cage to do this scene, it would come off as goofy because it's Nicolas Cage. But John Cusack does a good job with this scene. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yes, so eventually he comes to. So earlier in the film, something I missed is that he does go surfing and he crashes hard. So he comes to, and he's in the hospital, and his wife is there. And they are in Los Angeles. And she says that he crashed while surfing. He sat on a board or something. Board hit him in the head, whatever. And he's been in the hospital. So essentially, it's like he's dreamt the entire thing. And so now, I'm like, okay, so I'm sitting there going, okay, that's not that bad. And I'm looking at the clock, and I go, wait, I started this thing only in 45 minutes ago. Or not 45, but like an hour or so ago. I'm like, wait, something's not right. So I checked the time, how much is on there. There's like 25 minutes left. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? So he reconciles with his wife. He goes to see his father. They reconcile. He gets on with his life, right? And he checks his mail. There is no postcard this time, but, And then he goes to mail a manuscript, a story about, and everything starts breaking down. He notices that the people working at the post office and the people working on the construction are all employees of the hotel. And they just start bashing the walls. And the walls come crumbling down and reveal that he's back in the room. Before this, there was some kind of, there's times where it's really, really hot in there, or when it's really, really cold. Eventually, the room gets, destroyed, basically. There's, it's broken down or whatever. But, yes, this whole thing, he never left the room, basically. He never left the room. He was stuck there. And then this is where the 60 minutes is up, right? 60 minutes is up. He talks to his dead daughter. And that's a big part of the endings, is the daughter. So, the dead daughter, I guess. So the room resets after an hour. And he gets a phone call. It's supposed to be like the desk clerk, but it's the room talking to him. Basically tells him, they go, you can keep reliving the same hour over and over again, or you take the easy way out, and a noose appears. So you can kill him. So basically what it does is it tortures them for an hour, 10 minutes for the maid that got stuck in there. Then it offers you an out. And I guess most of the time they take it out. But he refuses to do it. He refuses to hang himself. He keeps seeing apparitions hanging himself. And like I said, at one point, his wife is called there. And she is actually called there because she does show up at one point. And so, he decides another way out. He takes this expensive bottle of alcohol, of which he's drinking most of it. It's the alcohol that Mr. Olin gave him. He puts a rag in it, uses his lighter. He contemplates whether it's real or not. But he lights the thing, basically a Molotov cocktail, throws it into the room with the bed. Fire starts, right? Now, we've seen earlier that the room will try to stop him from doing anything. Like when he's trying to communicate with the laptop, sprinkler came down. Which you could say, well, then why did it work? Because they're going to use it again later. You know. But, I guess. And we know that that's real, but anyway, so the fire starts to spread. The sprinklers turn on again, but it's too late. And it starts to spread. He lights the cigarette. He's smoking because, he thinks it's the end. He throws the thing at the window. He throws an ashtray at the window and it explodes, which is weird. And he's pulled out by the firemen. Now, this is where the endings differentiate. This is the DVD has a theatrical ending. The Blu-ray has the director's cut ending. I recommend you buy the DVD. I know you have to get the HD, but this is the better ending. I recommend you get the DVD because it's the director's preferred ending, and it is the ending that works the best. So there are essentially three different endings. This ending, the theatrical ending, is that he survives and he wakes up in the hospital again. This time he's really there. He reconciles with his wife, and he's going through a box of things later. He finds the tape recorder, he plays it, he hears the daughter's voice, so does the wife, and they get their closure, The other ending, he dies, and Mr. Olin goes to the funeral with the box of Mike's stuff, trying to give it to the wife. She doesn't want it, and he gets the closure when he hears the voice on the tape recorder. That's okay and everything, but I feel like Mike, throwing the Molotov cocktail and trying to overcome this, I feel like him dying ruins that moment. Like he's like, I found a way out without having to kill myself. Throw in the fire. I know he's all ready to let it go. He's smoking the cigarette. He's ready to die. But for him to die takes away from the moment where he seized control and stopped it from killing him. Yes, you can say, well, he seized control and he killed himself, but that's what the room wanted. But it also, in both these endings, you see him going, well done, Mr. Elton, whatever his last name is. So, a lot of people have said that Mr. Olin is the devil. He's not the devil. I think he's the one who sent the postcard because he knew somehow that Mike could be the one to get rid of the room. The other room is destroyed now. And the third ending is about the... there's more with the Samuel Jackson ending. He listens to the tape, he hears the girl's voice, and then he sees a little girl walking. There's a jump scare with a burnt up Mike, and then, closure, that sort of thing. But, don't really care about that ending. The original ending is better. There's also another alternate ending with the publisher, where he gets the box of Mike's stuff, and he doesn't listen to the tape recorder, but he gets the manuscript that was sent in the dream thing where he said that he thought he left, but he had the accident, but he gets sent the thing, and I guess there's closure. I don't know. I haven't seen that ending, but I think the theatrical ending is the best one. So I know it's not, 2021 to buy a DVD copy of something, but I recommend this one. It has the better ending. Completely. Or most definitely, I should say. Has the best ending. So, I'm going to give 1408 an 8 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on I was thinking, I never really said anything negative about this, did I? Except for the alternate ending. I'll stick with the 8. So what are your thoughts on 1408? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.